with members of the school management board. They are just at the door. We are happily awaited to receive them inside this young auditorium of Oxford Public School. And they are here, and can give a huge round of applause for our dignitaries, our chief guests, our distinguished guests, and the members of the school management board. Do not ever cease and keep applauding. Huge round of applause, sir, as we are privileged to have our school. So, as we glorified this evening and added a vibrancy to our humble gathering. Thank you for coming. Dear audience, we have among us a very distinguished guest, retired Major General Manoj Kumar. Kindly applause for sir to welcome him. He was the Commissioner in the Indian Army from June 1985 to December 2022. We have the honor to receive Dr. Shyam Pandey, who is the faculty at the Department of Political Science at St. Xavier's College, Ranchi. Huge round of applause for Madam. As she very excited by the petition and agreed to extend her support as judge in this event, I would take the pleasure to tell you that last year too Madam was with us as judge, and it was a great honor for us. Next, in the dignitaries, among the dignitaries, we have the benign presence of a revered Dr. Sini Mehta, the Academic Director of Oxford Public School. And please follow the Dean of International Relations and International Politics. I welcome Madam in this event. A big round of applause for her. Among the other dignitaries, we have members from the school management board. With us, we have respected principal of the school, Mr. Rajiv Kumar Thakur. Applause for him. We have respected junior in charge, Mr. Rajkishore Sharma. Applause for him as well. We have the academic coordinator of the school, Mr. Ravi Shekhar. Huge round of applause for him. And a seasoned educator and a distinguished member of the Faculty of Social Science, Oxford Public School, Mrs. Kumari Veena. She is the Justice and a huge round of applause for her.
Shubham karotu kalyanam arogyam shukha sampada dvijabodhi vinashaya atmajoti namastute atmajoti pradiptaya brahmajoti namastute brahmajoti pradiptaya grurajoti namastute grurajoti namastute om shanti shanti om.
That was really Your Excellencies, Reverend Chief Guest, Ambassador Anil Priyodasa, Reverend Retired Major General Guru Sir, most respected Academic Director of the Oxford Public School, Dr. Sini Mehta, respected Junior in charge, Mr. Rajkishore Sir, respected Academic Coordinator, Mr. Ravi Shekhar Sir, Chief Justice, Dr. Shyam Pandey, and Mrs. Kumari Veena. All the teachers representatives from various schools, teachers of the school, and my dearest young and valued student delegates. I, the principal of the school, Rajiv Kumar Thakur, take immense pleasure to extend my warm greetings and welcome to all on behalf of the school for being a part of this exciting OPS MUN United Nations Conference that the school is proudly hosting in this lovely auditorium today. In this true moment of action, in this amazing and proud moment, I express my deepest sense of gratitude to the founder of the school, Honorable Chairman Sir, Dr. S.B.P. Mehta, and most respected Secretary Ma'am, Mrs. Sri Mehta. As Sir said, today they are not here, but they are with us always guiding. We meet today at the critical point at a time when global solidarity is more important than ever. It is time that we settle down to quietly introspect and check our actions. As the theme that today's seminar deals with is a matter of real concern, climate change. The developed and developing world conundrum. Much has been done against the nature that has devastated all the countries continue to seek a solution to the catastrophic effects as the climate crisis affects life and values and deprives us from creating a better world. All is not well with our world. These crises did not happen by chance, but they can be fixed by plans. We need to work on the to-do list. And we have this extraordinary opportunity to transform the world that we live in, and the potential is within us. You, the young delegates sitting right in front of me, you who have the capacity to call the desired change as well as deserve to stay in a healthy world that is safe for everyone. For today's very relevant discussion, I am quite sure that all student leaders must have worked very hard to ensure an excellent conference for all delegates, and I am confident about the experience that will enrich our minds. At its core, this conference is not just about modern United Nations, but about the immense capacity of youth. More specifically, it is a clear demonstration of the transformative power of students, the policy makers of tomorrow. As you participate in the conference, I encourage you to take the work you do seriously and do it to the best of your ability. Do the work with a sense of honor and humility. As you spend time on campus today, debate and designated agenda, as all will get a chance to realize the importance of international relations, international security, and world peace. I sincerely hope that this event will help you take action as global citizens, leading a fair and just society for the future of humanity. May the day be a fruitful one for you, for me, and for everyone. I wish all the best to all the participants, and once again I wish welcome to everyone. I special thank you once again to our Chief Guest, Ambassador Trivulai Sir and Major General Retired Moro Sir. Spending his time, their time from the busy schedule and coming all the way from Delhi and from Ranchi. Moro Sir, inspiring us. Thank you, sir.
The earth is my home, I promise to keep it healthy and beautiful. अमीरों से हम आगे हुए पल पल हर पल हम जिए कितने निकाले हुए हवाओं ने जाके पत्तों से पूछा पत्तों ने जाके पैरों से पूछा हम कहाँ रहेंगे हम कैसे खिलेंगे हम कैसे जिएंगे हम कैसे जिएंगे रीना ना चले नरे सिमरियो जाते तन बदला दया सिमरियो जाते रीना ना चले नरे सिमरियो जाते तन बदला दया सिमरियो जाते नाई के मिट्टी के देवा ना तो बेटा रे सजन जमीन के बचा भैया बने जमीन के बचावा इंडिया के ना तो उजड़ा वारे तेरा के ना तो बेटा वारे इंडिया के ना तो उजड़ा वारे तेरा के ना तो बेटा वारे नानी के मिट्टी में देवा ना तो बेटा वारे जमीन जमीन के बचावा जमीन के बचावा जमीन के बचावा
to you all. But before I proceed further, yet to claim the status of being called a native, but at least I can make an attempt in that direction by saying Johar to you. At the outset, I thank Dr. Simi Mehta, the school management, members of the staff for having given me this opportunity to be with you all here and be here with a purpose. And that is why Dr. Shreya Pandey and other guests who have been invited are there to moderate. But above all, I will say, when I look at Honorable Ambassador Anil Vijayanath, I look at him in a manner which I would like to explain with this couplet. गुरु गोविंद दो खड़े ताकि लागू पाए बलिहारी गुरु आपने गोविंद देव मिलाए. It is Ambassador Tribunal who created this opportunity for me to meet you all. Thank you very much, sir. Now, before I come on to the subject, just a word about me, which I am primarily addressing to the students like you all. I also did my basic schooling in Jharkhand. I am a product of Sainik School, Jileya, not very far from here. And I I must compliment and congratulate each one of you and your parents for the kind of school that you are in, because these are your formative years and it is this staff and the management which is grooming you for higher responsibilities in times to come. What I can say as an elderly man, that most of us who are 55, 60 or plus years of age, what we are giving you is either misery or misery in making as far as climate is concerned. And you have a higher responsibility which calls for higher level of dedication and effort to reverse this change, or else the most selfish of all species on this earth, we will get eliminated from the earth. Now, when I come to the subject proper, there is so much of literature available around today, but something which would have, I'll say, drawn your attention would be heavy rainfall in Delhi yesterday and heaviest in last 88 years. Why so? Why has it happened that way? And if you recall the headlines, at the airport, we had one death and numerous casualties. This is the effect of just one day's rain. What have we come to? So, this sensitivity as far as climate change, its effect is concerned, is something which I am not going to dwell on, but something which I would like to draw your attention to is what is military doing as far as climate change, its effect are concerned. How is military contributing towards this cause? There are number of ecological battalions, territorial army, which Indian Army has, right from the region of Garhwal down to Chhattisgarh. Even in the military establishment which is at Leh, conscious effort has gone in to clean up and not stop there itself, but clean up the mud which the mountaineers, or I'll say we, have created right up to Everest. Those of you who had time to go to the newspaper, recently the senior-most military general in Eastern Theatre, Lieutenant General Ramchandra Tiwari, had an interaction with the Honorable Chief Minister, and he has requested that ecological battalion territorial army, primarily drawing out its manning pattern from the state of Jharkhand, be created for restoration of the flora, fauna and the rich variety of livestock that we have in this region. At the planning level, I'll say, to start from New Delhi, number of electric vehicles have already been launched. Charging stations, as far as those electric vehicles are concerned, have already been commissioned. But having spoken of all this, something which you and me as resident of Ranchi or Jharkhand will associate with. In less than about a year that I have been in Ranchi, go to Joda Talab, have a look in the area of Baryatu. On our way in to the school, we saw the Chhat Talab. And I am not able to recall the name of the Talab where we have a very huge and I'll say impressive statue of Swami Vivekananda. The kind of filth we all and our kith and kin have accumulated around these ponds. If we escape the wrath of it, you are certainly going to suffer. With these anecdotal examples that I have shared with you, in the end, I'll conclude with again a two-liner poem. जो भरा नहीं है भाव से धरती जिसमें रसधार नहीं वो हृदय नहीं है पत्थर है जिसमें स्वदेश का प्यार नहीं. You got to define what is your Swadesh and contribute towards it. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
Dear students, we truly are devastated in this earth. And we need to, in the words of Sir, we need to reverse this change and be selfless towards nature. We also learned one more very important thing from Sir. I'm very sorry to Sir and the audience for the little technical glitch and the literacy trip that happened, but Sir did not stop, he continued. That was amazing. Give a huge round of applause for him. As we learn to be unstoppable. Thank you so much again. Dear delegates and audience, sitting among the trees, we have a personality who is an accomplished scholar in the field of international relations and international politics. She has published widely in several national and international journals and newspapers on various topics of contemporary relevance, including the United Nations. She has worked for the United Nations Agency, United Nations Women in New Delhi, and FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization in Washington, D.C. Please give a big hand in welcoming Dr. Singh Mehta, the Director of OPS MUN Conference.
A warm and hearty Jharkhandi Johar to everyone present here. Our distinguished chief guest, Ambassador Anil Tribhunayak, our distinguished guest, Major General Manoj Kumar, our judges of the program, Dr. Shreya Pandey and Mrs. Kumari Meena, all the members of Oxford family, distinguished delegates representing various countries of the world today, parents, guardians, members of the press and media, and everyone. Good morning. It is indeed my delight to welcome each of you to our school, and more so because all of you have gathered to discuss and deliberate on the most urgent, most catastrophic, non-traditional security threat which is facing the humankind, which is climate change. Climate change is no longer an others problems. It has started knocking on our doors and it has in fact entered our doors. Until very recently, we lived under the record-breaking heat waves, and until very recently, we saw, as Major General also alluded to, about the catastrophic rainfall that inundated Delhi, and the unfortunate collapse of the Terminal 1 of the New Delhi airport, the roof that collapsed and led to several casualties and injuries. So all these erratic pattern of rainfall and erratic pattern of weather conditions is affecting each one of us. The inconveniences that is being caused by climate change, in fact, Ambassador Anil Tribhunayak had also to face the problem when he was on his way from his home to the airport. And I was actually praying that Sir because he was stuck up in very heavy rainfall and also the traffic which accompanies it. So thank you very much to the universe for allowing sir to reach the airport on time and so that he is here. My dear children and the delegates that are present here, we are really perilously close to the threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius warming of our planet. And certainly it is a code red for humanity, which has been succinctly put forward by the United Nations Secretary General. My dear students, today you all have gathered here to deliberate the climate change based on the level of development your respective chosen countries are in. The industrialized Western nations have advanced at the behest of the Oriental, and most of which were former colonies. These post-colonial countries have aspirational governments, they have aspirational populations. And then it becomes difficult to reconcile the comprehensive development trajectories of the developed and the developing countries. The Common but Differentiated Responsibilities, the CBDR, is actually a matter of contention in the global north and in the global south. I am sure all the delegates of different countries gathered here today would indulge in fruitful and productive discussions and arrive at a consensus for the way forward. Once again, I welcome all our distinguished guests, Ambassador Tribunal, Major General Manoj Sir, Dr. Shreya, Mrs. Veena, and my final message to all of you is fight. And fight vociferously to save our planet. And move on with a kind and clear conscience to the next week where we celebrate the Van Mahotsav. Thank you very much and Johar to everyone. Thank you.
On the stage, we have our chief guest, kindly applaud. We have our chief guest, our Brigadier Academy Director. Sit down, please, and kindly applaud for the Brigadier Academy Director, Dr. Simi Mehta, our judge for the event, Dr. Shreya Pandey, and Mrs. Kumari Veena, the judge. Kindly applaud for both the judges. Having settled down once again, we finally are ready to start off with a panel discussion. And for me, at this juncture, it is a privilege to introduce the two very talented and efficient students who would chair and co-chair the conference. Kindly applaud for them as I give the introduction. Smriti Rai, I request Smriti to stand up. She is a student of class 12, the chair. She is an outstanding student and has always had a praiseworthy academic record. Not only in scholastic, but she has also created a record in meticulously participating in many post-scholastic events. She has secured position in various competitions like the inter-school elocution competition, English and Hindi recitation competitions, etc. These are just a few of the mentions. She has very good oratory skills and has always grabbed the opportunity to host multiple events of the school. Huge round of applause for Smriti. She is from class 10 and she is nothing less in any means. Sparsh has always been very active and agile. She has been academically very sound and had served as volunteer of Eliot House from classes 3 to 8. Kindly applaud. She has taken the role of prefect in class 9. She won a bronze medal in archery on the occasion of Sansad Khel Mahotsav that was held in Khelgaon, Ranchi last year. Not only this, last year she also represented the school in the inter-school badminton tournament held in Khelgaon. Please applaud. And has been a winner of the inter-house badminton tournament held in the school. She bagged the runner-up position in the inter-house recitation competition 2023. Once again, sit down, Sparsh. Kindly applaud for the chair and the co-chair. I now hand over the mic to Smriti and Sparsh, the moderators of today's event, who would take the conference further. And before I leave the dais, I thank all of you, the delegates, for your commitment and wish all of you a most stimulating conference. Go ahead.
Welcome delegates to the second OPS MUN Conference 2024.
First of all, let us go through some general instructions. You all are requested to use your electronic gadgets freely. You are requested to maintain your delicacy throughout the conference. In case of any inconvenience, you can raise the point of personal privilege. There will be a time constraint which every delegate must adhere to. Both verbal and non-verbal questions and replies will be entertained and marked accordingly by the judges. If delegates wish, they may approach the dais. The agenda for the session is preset, that is, climate change, the developing world conundrum. You will be awarded marks based on the quality of your speech, facts, confidence and constructive behavioral procedure that you adopt for the proper proceedings of the conference.
Before the beginning of the actual session, let us go through some brief description of the procedure. We will start with the roll call with the delegates stating their voting preferences. With this, we will move into the GSL, that is General Speakers List, for the time period of 3 hours. After the GSL, there will be a lunch break of 30 minutes. This will be followed by a moderated caucus. The drafted resolution will be presented and lastly the voting procedure will be conducted. Further queries will be addressed during the conference. Follow-up won't be entertained more than twice due to time constraints.
Attention delegates, please take your seats. I hereby call the United Nations General Assembly to order.
Delegates, we will now enter roll call. Please state your voting preferences between present or present and voting.
Brazil,
Present and voting.
Germany,
Present and voting.
Norway,
Present and voting.
Ukraine,
Present and voting.
Spain,
Present and voting.
Russia,
Present and voting.
Finland,
Present and voting.
Republic of Korea,
Present and voting.
Belarus,
Present and voting.
Australia,
Present and voting. Present and voting.
Bulgaria,
Present and voting.
Chile,
Present and voting.
Maldives, India, Argentina,
Present and voting.
Sierra Leone,
Present and voting.
Iceland,
Present and voting.
Portugal,
Present and voting.
Saudi Arabia,
Present and voting.
United Kingdom of Great Britain,
Voting.
Belgium,
Present and voting.
Morocco,
Present and voting.
Sweden,
Present and voting.
United Arab Emirates,
Present and voting.
New Zealand,
Present and voting.
USA,
Present and voting.
Switzerland,
Present and voting.
Uganda,
Present and voting.
Nepal,
Present and voting.
Singapore,
Present and voting.
Thailand,
Present and voting.
China,
Present and voting.
Indonesia,
Present and voting.
Canada,
Present and voting.
Mexico,
Present and voting.
Iran,
Present and voting.
Hungary,
Present and voting.
Bhutan,
Present and voting.
Costa Rica,
Present and voting.
Denmark,
Present and voting.
Malaysia,
Present and voting.
Monaco,
Present and voting.
Estonia,
Present and voting.
Greece,
Present and voting.
Armenia,
Present and voting.
Japan,
Present and voting.
Lebanon,
Present and voting.
Vietnam,
Present and voting.
Luxembourg,
Present and voting.
Philippines.
Present and voting.
It is requested for the judges to note that no delegate is absent for the session.
Now, we will establish the general speakers list. The total time for the GSL is 3 hours. The delegate can yield the time after their speech to the chair, to another delegate, to points of information.
Are there any points or motions on the floor? Delegate of Brazil, you have been recognized.
Motion to move into the general speakers list on the preset agenda with total speaking time of 3 hours and individual speaking time of 1 minute.
Is there a second? All those who favor? Those who oppose? Seeing the majority, the motion clearly passes.
I will tap the gavel once when 10 seconds are remaining. The gavel will be tapped twice when the delegate has exhausted its time limit.
Please raise your placard if you would like to be added to the general speakers list. Brazil, Germany, Norway, Ukraine, Spain, Russia, Finland, South Korea, Belarus, Australia, Bulgaria, Chile, Maldives, India, Argentina, Sierra Leone, Iceland, Portugal, Saudi Arabia, United Kingdom, Belgium, Morocco, Sweden, UAE, Mexico, Switzerland, USA, Uganda, Nepal, Singapore, Thailand, China. Yes.
Honorable judges, respected chair, and fellow delegates. Spain, a deeply committed nation to address the urgent challenge of climate change. This crisis affects us all, but its impacts are felt most severely by the developing world. Developed nations like Spain bear a historical responsibility of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. It is important that we lead by example and take steps to mitigate climate change. Spain has committed to reduce its emission to 55% by 2030 and is achieving net zero emissions by 2050. We are investing heavily in renewable energy like wind and solar power, and more than half of Spain's electricity comes from green sources, which helps to reduce pollution and create jobs. This makes Spain the European Union member state with the second largest renewable energy infrastructure. Thank you.
Delegate of Spain, since your 7 seconds are remaining, so how would you like to wield your remaining time?
The delegate would like to yield its remaining time to the points of information.
The delegate is now open to points of information. The countries would like to raise it. Delegate of Germany, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Germany. Vox, the third major party that governs 5 of its sub-communities, has cut down the budget of these subsections for climate action by 50%. Even though climate problems have not reduced, with a party such oblivious to climate action, how will your country achieve its goals?
Could you rephrase?
Vox is the third major party of a country which governs 5 of the subsections, and it has cut down the budget of these subsections for climate change by 50%. And your climate change problems are not going down. Yet, with a party such oblivious to climate action, how are you planning to meet your goals?
I would like to answer the question.
Thank you.
Delegate of Japan, you have been recognized.
Thank you so much. Delegate of Spain. Why Spain is taking a long time to introduce the electric vehicles, as it is the main reason behind CO2 emission in Spain, even though it is a developed country.
Could you rephrase us?
Why Spain is taking a long time to introduce the electric vehicles, as it is the main reason behind CO2 emissions in Spain. It is a developed country.
The delegate of Spain would like to answer the question.
Delegate of Belgium, you have been recognized.
Spain has been ambitious climate goals under the European Green Deal. Can you provide specific examples of how these policies are being implemented and their effectiveness in reducing emissions?
The delegate would like to answer it by
Delegate of Saudi Arabia, you've been recognized. Thank you, Chair, for your recognition. How does Spain plan to address the disproportionate impact of climate change on vulnerable communities within its borders?
Please rephrase the question.
How does Spain plan to address the disproportionate impact of climate change on vulnerable communities within its borders?
May I reply?
Yes.
Spain has implemented several measures to protect its border areas from the impacts of climate change, such as rising sea levels and increasing storm frequency. These measures include building walls and other protective infrastructure, restoring wetlands and dunes to act as natural barriers, and implementing coastal zoning laws to prevent development in high-risk areas.
Thank you, Chair. Due to time constraints, the question of other delegates will be entertained by Chair. Thank you, Delegate of Spain. Delegate of Russia, you've been recognized for the next one.
To address this overwhelming and pressing issue of climate change, which is both an environmental and humanitarian crisis, Russia stands firmly with its powerful and concrete measures to strengthen the global response. The most prominent is the implementation of the Paris Agreement, which has a target to limit the greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. Moreover, in 2021, Russia adopted a watered-down climate bill, and the Sakhalin pilot project launched the previous year was designed to achieve carbon neutrality on the Russian islands by 2025. Russia also proactively implemented and ratified the Kyoto Protocol to UNFCCC in 2005. To sum up, the Russian Federation believes that it's possible to maintain the balance of the ecosystems with the growth of technological advancements. Thank you.
Delegate of Russia, since your 3 seconds are remaining, so how would you like to use your remaining time?
Delegate of Russia would like to use the remaining time to points of information.
The delegate is now open to points of information. The countries who would like to raise it. Delegate of Republic of South Korea, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of the Republic of Korea. Can Russia assure the global community that its commitment to climate action remains uncompromised due to geopolitical tensions?
Right?
Yes.
Russia is continuously investing $1 billion in its agreements. It has taken significant measures to reduce the CO2 emissions, and it has been noticed that Russian levels of emissions already has been reduced to around 30% level below the 1990 levels. If Russia will make an agreement, it will try its best to fulfill it in spite of all the upcoming challenges, whether it's politics or geopolitical tensions. But if Russia has given words, it will try its best to fulfill whatever agreements it has made. Thank you. Thank you.
Delegate of Mexico, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognition. As one of the largest emitters of greenhouse gases, what measures is Russia taking to reduce its carbon footprint?
May I reply?
Yes.
Russia had a transition to renewable energy resources, which is investing on solar, wind, hydro and nuclear power. Russia has also implemented many ways to reduce the methane emissions from agricultural natural gas systems. It is also part of net zero coalition, which aims to the net zero carbon emissions. Russia has also started the systems of carbon pricing, where the industries have to give their carbon emitters from 2024, and if the industries are exceeding the limited carbon emissions, they have to pay the taxes. It has also implemented technology of carbon storage and carbon capture and storage, where the CO2 will be captured and stored underground. Thank you.
Delegate of Iran, you have been recognized.
What steps is Russia taking to address deforestation and land degradation, particularly in the Siberian taiga, which is a crucial carbon sink? Could you please rephrase your question? What steps is Russia taking to address deforestation and land degradation, particularly in the Siberian taiga, which is a crucial carbon sink? May I reply?
Yes.
Russia will be protecting the Siberian region, which is a very valuable region in terms of Russia. Russia will be protecting the lands from oil spills, and it has also set up the monitoring systems through which it will monitor that where the oil spills have been occurring. It has also established a cleanup strategy that whatever oil spills have been executed, it will try its best to clean up all the oil spills. Thank you.
Due to time constraints, the question of other delegates will be entertained by Chair.
Thank you, Delegate of Russia.
Blah blah blah. Net zero by 2050. Blah blah blah. Climate change. Blah blah blah. Zero carbon emission by so-called developed countries and the world leaders. Blah blah blah. This is what we have been hearing since childhood, that these so-called world leaders are trying to save the world. We hear only words, there are no actions. Our hopes, our dreams are dying with their empty words and promises. They have now had 30 years of their blah blah blah, but we have had it enough. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystem is collapsing, and we are standing on the edge of mass extinction. My question is to the USA, UK, Australia, the so-called world powers. You say you hear them, the people who are dying, and then you say you understand them, but the urgency is seen nowhere. How dare you pretend that this can be solved by some technical solution, and if you dress up and come to conferences after every 2 years and shed tears in conferences saying that you care for the world, but you are the biggest reason and accountable for historical carbon emissions. The developed countries, the world leaders are historically, morally, financially, politically responsible for the climate change. You will have to answer all of them. My argument today is very simple and clear. Everyone must bid their fight against climate change, but the developed countries that call themselves the world powers did it the most, and so they should pay up and not preach. Thank you.
Delegate of Finland, since you exhausted your time limit, so we'll proceed to the next delegate. Thank you.
Delegate of Republic of Korea, you've been recognized for the next 1 minute.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the Delegate of Republic of Korea. May I proceed?
Yes.
Honorable delegates, as we stand at a crossroads in the history, the decisions we make today will shape the future for planet and for generations to come. It is not a distant threat, but a reality that we must confront head-on. In 2021, Korea updated its 2030 NDC, making commitments to reduce 40% of its gases by 2018 levels, which shows determination to address the climate change. Our country has made significant investment towards renewable energy, sustainable transportation, and green infrastructure. We aim to reduce our carbon footprint and mitigate the effects of climate change. Let us seize this opportunity to make a positive difference in our planet and our generations. Thank you.
Delegate of Republic of Korea, since your 19 seconds is remaining, so how would you like to lead your remaining time?
Delegate of Republic of Korea would like to release remaining 10 points of information.
The delegate is now going to points of information. The countries would like to raise it. Delegate of Portugal, you are recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. South Korea has faced challenges with emission trading scheme. What improvements or adjustments is South Korea considering to enhance the effectiveness of its ETS in driving emission reductions?
May I reply? Yes. Our country is again reviewing the ETS, which is the emission trading system. We are aligning with the long-term carbon neutrality And the second is promote across with broad incentives for low carbon investment, for which robust price signal is essential. And the third is improve compatibility with other instruments overlapping with the ETS. And the last, raise additional revenues which cloud help promote innovation in green industries, fund green clean energy transition, and lower taxes on work effort.
Thank you, Chair.
Delegate of Malaysia, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. Given the global shift towards the sustainable practices, how is South Korea promoting green innovation and sustainable development in key sectors such as technology, manufacturing, and transportation?
Delegate, could you please rephrase the question?
Given the global shift towards the sustainable practices, how is South Korea promoting green innovations and sustainable development in key sectors such as technology, manufacturing, and transportation?
May I reply?
Yes.
As in certain technology demonstration, we are competing with the technology demonstration projects. South Korea conducts technology demonstration projects in collaboration with other countries. And the project showcase Korean technologies like smart grids, energy efficiency, and clean transportation systems also. And in the energy sector, our country has been continuously focusing on shifting to the renewable energy, renewable technologies. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Delegate of China, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of China. What innovative policies or practices has South Korea implemented to combat climate change that could serve as a model for others?
Can I reply?
Yes.
There are many we are addressing climate issue as one of the most commitment to sustainable and environmental stewardship. We have implemented many policies and measures which may contribute to the combating climate change. First, I would like to go with renewable energy expansion, and the second with carbon emission reduction targets, carbon pricing initiatives, and second, the fourth with green growth strategy, as the South Korea has announced $300 billion, and it is one of the highest contributors in green growth strategy. And we are also focusing and enhancing our opportunities in international cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Due to time constraints.
Distinguished Chair and fellow delegates, Belarus stands before you today deeply committed to addressing the urgent crisis of climate change. Our nation, rich in natural beauty and resources, has already witnessed the adverse effects of global warming. We have taken significant steps to reduce greenhouse gas emission, increase forest conservation, and invest in renewable energy. However, we recognize that the fight of climate change transcends borders. Belarus advocates for a unified international response, robust financial support for vulnerable nations, and innovative technological solutions. Let us collaborate to secure a sustainable and prosperous future for generations to come. Thank you.
Delegate of Belarus, since your 20 seconds are remaining, so how would you like to use your remaining time?
The delegate would like to yield to points of information.
The delegate is now open to points of information. The countries who would like to raise it. Delegate of Chile, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair. What are your country's climate stressors and climate risk in context of agriculture?
May I reply?
Yes.
The climate stressors and climate risk in context of agriculture include floods, which leads to erosion and subsequent loss of farmland. Rising temperature leads to desertification and loss of arable land for agriculture production, decrease of soil fertility, and increased risk of poor harvest yields. Change in rainfall patterns leads to increased livestock mortality. Droughts leads to increased prevalence of waterlogged soils. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Delegate of Bulgaria, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Bulgaria. What role do non-government organizations play in addressing climate change in Belarus?
May I reply?
Yes.
The role of NGOs in Belarus play a significant role in addressing by raising awareness, advocating for policy changes, conducting research, and implementing local projects focused on sustainability and environmental protection. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Delegate of Estonia, have been recognized. What kind of support do you require from the international communities to effectively combat climate change?
May I reply?
Yes.
Belarus can benefit from international finance and technical support to enhance its climate change initiatives. Participation in global climate funds and partnerships can provide necessary resources. Thank you.
Sure. Due to time constraints, the question.
Yes.
Honorable judges, respected chair, and fellow delegates, Spain, a deeply committed nation to address the urgent challenge of climate change. This crisis affects us all, but its impacts are felt most severely by the developing world. Developed nations like Spain bear a historical responsibility of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. It is important that we lead by example and take steps to mitigate climate change. Spain has committed to reduce its emission to 55% by 2030 and achieving net zero emissions by 2050. We are investing heavily in renewable energy like wind and solar power, and more than half of Spain's electricity comes from green sources, which helps to reduce pollution and create jobs. This makes Spain the European Union member state with the second largest renewable energy infrastructure. Thank you.
Delegate of Spain, since your 7 seconds are remaining, so how would you like to meet your remaining time?
The delegate would like to yield its remaining time to the points of information.
The delegate is now open to points of information. The countries would like to raise it. Delegate of Germany, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Germany. Vox, the third major party that governs 5 of its sub-communities, has cut down the budget of these subsections for climate action by 50%. Even though climate problems have not reduced, with a party such oblivious to climate action, how will your country achieve its goals?
Could you rephrase?
Vox is the third major party of a country which governs 5 of the subsections, and it has cut down the budget of these subsections for climate change by 50%. And your climate change problems are not going down. Yet, with a party such oblivious to climate action, how are you planning to meet your goals?
I would like to answer it by Chair.
Thank you.
Delegate of Japan, you have been recognized.
Thank you so much. Delegate of Spain. Why Spain is taking a long time to introduce the electric vehicles, as it is the main reason behind CO2 emission in Spain, even though it is a developed country.
Could you rephrase us?
Why Spain is taking a long time to introduce the electric vehicles, as it is the main reason behind CO2 emissions in Spain. It is a developed country.
The delegate of Spain would like to answer it by Chair.
Delegate of Belgium, you have been recognized.
Spain has been ambitious climate goals under the European Green Deal. Can you provide specific examples of how these policies are being implemented and their effectiveness in reducing emissions?
The delegate would like to answer it by Chair.
Delegate of Saudi Arabia, you've been recognized. Thank you, Chair, for your recognition. How does Spain plan to address the disproportionate impact of climate change on vulnerable communities within its borders?
Please rephrase the question.
How does Spain plan to address the disproportionate impact of climate change on vulnerable communities within its borders?
reply?
Yes.
Spain has implemented several measures to protect its border areas from the impacts of climate change, such as rising sea levels and increasing storm frequency. These measures include building walls and other protective infrastructure, restoring wetlands and dunes to act as natural barriers, and implementing coastal zoning laws to prevent development in high-risk areas.
Thank you, Chair. Due to time constraints, the question of other delegates will be entertained by Chair. Thank you, Delegate of Spain.
Delegate of Russia, you've been recognized for the next one. Since you proposed the motion, you may start first.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Brazil. May I approach the dais?
Yes.
Honorable Chair, esteemed delegates, judges, and distinguished guests, Brazil is at the crossroads of development and environmental stewardship, embodying the complexities of developed and developing world conundrum in climate change. As the guardian of the Amazon rainforest, we recognize our unique responsibility. We are pledged to decrease our greenhouse gas emissions by 37% below 2005 levels by 2025 and aims for 43% reduction by 2030. We are actively advancing renewable energy, promoting sustainable agriculture, and aiming to eliminate illegal deforestation in the Amazon rainforest. However, the climate change is not solely ours to bear. It is imperative that developed nations fulfill their commitments to support the developing nations. In conclusion, we call for international support and cooperation to tackle this pressing global issue, ensuring a sustainable and equitable future for all nations. Thank you.
Delegate of Brazil, since your 8 seconds are remaining, so how would you like to yield your remaining time?
Delegate of Brazil would like to yield 2 points of information.
The delegate is now open to points of information. The countries would like to raise it. Delegate of Norway, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing Delegate of Norway. Norway would like to know what measures have been taken by Brazil to ensure water security and sustainability while facing one of the most severe water crises in Amazon.
May I reply? Yes. Thank you, delegation, for raising this concern. We have implemented various policies and frameworks to tackle this issue. We are committed and we are promoting integrated water resource management in our country, which emphasizes the holistic management of our water resources. Regarding the water scarcity, our government has developed and implemented policies for drought response plans, coordinating with local communities and governments, and also the international partners to provide emergency water supply and support during water crisis. Also, we collaborate with our neighboring countries in the Amazon basin through regional agreements and initiatives to manage transboundary water resources, to manage our transboundary water resources effectively and efficiently. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Delegate of Finland, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. Brazil, my question is that you are the champion of Amazon rainforest and you also passed a legislation in 2012. The law number was 12,651. But then that law weakened the forest protection laws, leading to increased deforestation and land conflicts. So how do your government plan to reconcile its commitment to preserving the land, especially the Amazon rainforest? And since you preach about climate change and export it, but since 2020, the deforestation is rising at an alarming rate of 34%.
Thank you, delegation, for raising this. Thank you, delegation, for raising this concern. We recognize that the Amazon rainforest is an essential resource for the entire world. Regarding the increase in deforestation rates in the year 2020, it was due to the political scenario in our country which led to such policies which were promoting clearance of forests for completion of all our providing our populations with the resources. To tackle this, we have strengthened our enforcement mechanisms. Also, regarding the forest code which you mentioned of 2012, that we have mandated to preserve a significant portion of the native land, of private land as native vegetation. Also, we have increased our illegal deforestation penalties and enhanced the capacity of our enforcement mechanisms like IPAMA. Thank you.
Delegate of Hungary, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. Given delays in granting land titles to indigenous communities, how can Brazil ensure the land tenures rights are respected, especially in facing of increasing encroachment by agribusiness and mining interests?
May I reply?
Yes.
Thank you, delegation, for raising this concern. We recognize the immense responsibility that our government holds in order to protect our indigenous communities, especially in the Amazon basin. And regarding the land rights, our country is committed to help our vulnerable communities which reside in Amazon rainforest, which includes providing capacity building measures to help them tackle with the issue of climate change, which they are facing severely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Due to time constraints, the question of other delegates will be entertained via chat. Thank you, Delegate of Brazil. Delegate of Germany, you have been recognized for the next 1 minute.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Germany. May I approach the dais?
Yes.
Good morning, fellow delegates, honorable chair, judges, and esteemed guests. The delegate of Germany would now address the House on the current agenda. Germany, as a country which holds major power both at the European as well as international front, knows its responsibilities and thus has taken a multitude of steps to lead the world and itself to a greener future. Some of the major points include its aim to achieve carbon neutrality by 2045, its aim to reduce carbon emissions up to 65% by 2030, and to increase the usage of renewable form of energy from 17% to 80% by 2050. Germany believes that with the help of its allies, it can bring the countries of the world together to fight this pressing matter, that is climate change.
Delegate of Germany, you have 15 seconds left. How would you like to use your remaining time?
The delegate would like to use its remaining time to points of information.
The delegate is now open to points of information. The countries would like to raise it. Delegate of Indonesia, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Indonesia. Germany has committed to planning out coal by 2038, yet it remains one of the largest consumers of coal in Europe. How does Germany reconcile its significant coal uses with its role as a leader in fight against climate change?
May I reply? We recognize that coal has a major share in our economy, and it is important right now for the industries to make use of the power. But we are consistently shifting from coal power plants to renewable energy. We are using the oil and gas sector as a transitional method through which we can transition from coal-based economy to a renewable one. Thank you, Delegate.
Delegate of Nepal, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Nepal. How is Germany ensuring a just transition for workers in carbon-intensive industries as it moves towards a greener economy?
The delegate would like to reply by chat.
Delegate of Norway, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair.
Considering that developed countries like Germany are responsible for a significant proportion of historical greenhouse gas emission, how does Germany propose to address this imbalance in climate regulations?
May I reply?
Yes.
Yes, Germany recognizes its role in the spread of pollution in the past, and thus has signed many treaties as well as policies as per to reduce its carbon emissions to the maximum in 2020. The policies like the Climate Action Program and the Federal Climate Protection Act are working in this field.
Need to follow up?
Granted.
Could the delegate of Germany please give more subtext about these policies?
The Climate Action Program aims to achieve carbon neutrality by 2045, and the Federal Climate Act aims to reduce emissions up to 65% by 2030 and to increase usage of renewables from 70% to 80% by 2050.
Thank you, Chair.
Due to time constraints, the question of other delegates will be entertained by
Today, I stand before you as the voice of Norway to talk about a crisis that affects us all. A crisis that threatens the very foundation of our existence, climate change. Norway, a nation deeply committed to environmental protection and development, has already devoted a substantial amount of time and resources in the field of green energy. Norway has invested more than $1.2 billion towards green energy and infrastructure projects across the globe. Climate change isn't just a nation's problem, it's a global crisis. We all have to take bold actions together. Norway has always been ready to share its knowledge and to collaborate with nations across the globe for a better and prosperous future for all. Delegates, let us work together to ensure a sustainable and prosperous future for all. Thank you.
Delegate of Norway, since your 13 seconds are remaining, so how would you like to yield your remaining time?
The delegate of Norway would like to yield the remaining time to point of information.
The delegate is now open to points of information. The countries who would like to raise it. Delegate of Russia, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for the recognition. What is Norway's strategy to address the climate crisis in the context of role as its major ocean nation, including ocean acidification and marine conservation?
Yes. The government of Norway has been collaborating with other nations across the globe who have better ocean health. Like, for example, UAE, the government of Norway has been collaborating with UAE for the storage of carbon and black emissions under the Northern Sea. We have projects such as the Northern Light project secures the world's first commercial agreement on cross-border CO2 transportation and storage facilities, companies like Yar International in 2022.
Delegate of Armenia, you have been recognized.
Thank you for the recognition, Chair. How can Norway justify its continued exploration for new oil and gas reservoirs when climate scientists warn the catastrophic consequences of burning fossil fuels?
May I reply?
Yes.
Delegate, the main problem with the oil and gas sector is during that the extraction of these gases, a huge amount of greenhouse gases get emitted. Although this isn't the case with Norway, as Norway is home to a number of carbon treating and storing companies. Like Belkinor and Shell, we have collaborated with these companies in which we help them to set up carbon capture and storage facilities across Europe, which help us significantly reduce these emissions. However, Norway knows that we can't be dependent on these resources for long. That's why we have plans to reduce our gas export by 35% and oil export by 93% till 2050.
Delegate of Bhutan, you've been recognized.
Thank you, Chair, for recognizing the delegate of Bhutan. As Norway claims to play a vital role as a global climate leader, but as per the report of UNFCCC, Norway is simultaneously expanding its oil and gas production, subsidizing its fossil fuel industry. How does Norway justify this?
May I reply? Norway's oil and gas sector will not be dismantled anytime soon. In fact, we are planning to grow the lucrative oil and gas sector as it plays a crucial role in our economy. As I said before, the main problem with the gas and oil sector is that during the extraction of these resources, a huge amount of greenhouse gases get emitted. But this isn't the case with Norway.
Thank you, Chair.
Due to time constraints, the question of other delegates will be entertained by Chair.
Thank you, Delegate of Norway.
Thank you, sir.
Delegate.
Yes, as we conclude this Model United Nations Conference on climate change, let us not forget the urgency of our collective action. The stakes are high and the time for action is now. We have deliberated, negotiated and debated, but now is the moment for decisive action. We must hold ourselves and our nations accountable for the commitments we have made today. Our planet is depending on us and future generations are watching. Let us leave this conference with a renewed determination to implement real measurable solutions to combat climate change. Together we can make a difference. Thank you.
Delegate of Estonia, you have been recognized.
Honorable fellow delegates, as this conference draws to a close, Estonia remains resolute in its commitment to combating climate change through new innovations. Combating climate change requires a collective effort grounded in mutual respect and shared responsibility, and a commitment to leaving no one behind. Let us use this platform to generate meaningful dialogues, innovative solutions, and concrete actions that will safeguard our planet and secure the sustainable future generations to come.
Delegate of Police, you have been recognized.
Thank you, Chair. Major delegates, as we conclude this crucial meeting summit on climate change, it is with a profound sense of urgency and responsibility that I address you today. Greece is committed to doing its part in the fight against climate change. We have set ambitious targets for reducing greenhouse emissions, transitioning to renewable energy sources, and protecting our precious natural habitats. But we cannot do it alone. We call upon all the nations gathered here today to join us in this global endeavor. Let us put our differences and work together in solidarity and unity and invest in agriculture and green infrastructure. Thank you.
And the last generation who can do something about it. As we conclude through this conference, I want to express my gratitude to each and every one of you for your tireless efforts and dedication to addressing the pressing issue of global warming. The example pledges to continue to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, increase our investment in climate finance, support climate resilience and adaptation efforts, fostering international cooperation and knowledge sharing. We all nations will join us in this fight. Let us work together to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Let us protect our planet and ensure a sustainable future for all. Together we can make a difference. Together we must make a difference. Thank you.
Delegate of Philippines, you have been recognized.
Thank you, sir. As a nation deeply affected by climate change, the Philippines serves collective actions now more than ever. Our island faces rising seas, extreme weather, and threats to our biodiversity. Let us unite in stronger commitments, innovations, and resilience. Together, we can secure a sustainable future for the generation to come. Thank you.
Thank you, delegates. Are there any points or motions on the floor?
Pakistan rigid with great ambition for climate change. It calls for solidarity amongst all nations. Armenia requests all developing nations to join hands together, revisit the SDGs, reduce carbon and greenhouse gas emissions, and thus we can create a new face of globe. One that's pure, one that has a better climate. And then, will the future generation be grateful to us? Surely yes. Thank you.
Delegate of Japan, you have been recognized.
Thank you so much for the recognition. I would like to thank the honorable chairpersons and other delegates to provide me such a wonderful experience. I hope through this conference we now must come together to take a collective efforts and effective steps to combat the recent problems, to avoid the real problems which may be faced by our future generations. Because unity is strength, and this strength should not be used to show power, but to use to combat problems of climate change. So let's come forward today, not to push backward our future, but to push forward. Thank you.
Delegate of Lebanon, you have been recognized.
Thank you for the recognition. As we conclude this gathering, let us remember that Lebanon's strength lies in its diversity, resilience, and unity. Despite our challenges, let us strive to offer peace, justice, prosperity for all. Together we can build a brighter future for Lebanon, where every individual rights and dignity are respected. Let us work hard to overcome obstacles and create a nation that embraces tolerance and progress. Thank you.
Delegate of Vietnam, you have been recognized.
Thank you for
for the recognition. Honorable Chair, fellow delegates, and most esteemed guests, as we conclude, let us reframe our commitments to combat global warming. Vietnam, a nation of frontline of climate change, calls for collective action and international cooperation. We must adopt sustainable practices, invest in green technologies, and support vulnerable communities. Together, we can build a resilient future for our planet. Thank you.
Dear delegates, that we need to thank ma'am, and may I hear a loud thank you from them? So that was truly wonderful. The successful culmination of any grand event requires keen interest of the special guest, whose knowledge is as deep as the ocean and heart is as broad as the infinite skies. Having said that, may I request our chief guest to share his observation and give us his valuable feedback. Kindly applaud for him.
Friends, at the outset I would like to compliment and congratulate you all for really representing the countries that you are assigned for in a very, very significant manner. Professor Shreyamate has already told you what more could have been done. But within the given time, I would say that you have done amazingly well. But I would also like to acknowledge that our chair have done amazingly well. I was really impressed by their conduct of the proceedings. So, heartiest congratulations to both of them. You know, you have focused and as was mentioned on the issues, and that is the main thing. In my view, the takeaway for you is that you are becoming a little more conscious of the challenge that the world is facing, we all are facing, and you being young people are going to face even more. So once you are acknowledging this, not simply as an in-one exercise, but an exercise in understanding the humanity and its challenges for the future. So do not just go away from here by thinking that this is over and that's it. This is something that should be inculcated as a value proposition for you, as something that you are going to do it yourself. Of course, I can tell you something very interesting story. A friend of mine who was a general in the army and retired, and as you know, retired people mostly live on their pensions. So he has a wife and he has 2 daughters. So but after the retirement, they continue to spend beyond their means. So one day, he called them together and he sat with them. And he said, listen, we are on the same side in the house. So this is exactly the case. Whether it is the developed world, whether it is developing country, whether it is this city or that city, no one is an island. So we are all on the same side. And on the same side of the disaster, how fast we can ameliorate it or how fast we can bring it forward. That is the choice that we have to make. So I would say that you have done an amazingly, a very good job. Excellent. I would also like to tell the organizers here that it is important that this resolution which was drafted by them, that it should get. Of course, most of these things what you have put in are available in the public domain already by various, I would say, resolutions that have been passed. And you all know that the UNGA resolutions are not binding. Like the G20, recommendations are recommendations. They are not binding. But they have a moral authority. And moral authority, of course, it depends on the members, on the countries that are the members of the United Nations. So it is up to them how they carry forward this. But what you have done is, you have collated nearly everything into that resolution, and I would compliment you for that. And I would urge that it should be, basically you could also, apart from publicizing it in whichever way, you could also send it to the Ministry of External Affairs. They might pick up some small tidbits here and there that would be useful for them to the UN ES division in the NEA, which deals with this. So that will be at least they are going to. You know something about Maldives? Our friend from Maldives is here. He was chasing China. Today's Maldives government is very, very close to China. What you have done here in the UNGA, you will not do in the real time, in the real situation. So that is something. But about Maldives, a very interesting thing that you might find over time. A few years ago, the Maldivian president, he held his cabinet meeting underwater to convey a message that his island was sinking, and it will over some time as the sea levels will rise. So those are the real challenges that one is facing. I hope many of you will join the Foreign Service in times to come, 5-6 years time from now, and some who are already the graduate students have a few years ahead, 1 or 2 years. So please do try. And when you try, you will have the real-term experience. Exactly how we handle the negotiations, how we proceed with various challenges in the international domain. India is on the rise. India is going to be a developed country. And you will be the beneficiary of that and also the architect of it. So therefore it is important to be part of the journey in which you are there. Of course, many of you would like to have the little power, but let me tell you about Foreign Service. Somebody asked me that what is the difference between Foreign Service and the Indian Administrative Service or the civil services here? You know, in the civil services, you may exercise power. In the Foreign Service and diplomacy, you exercise influence. When you speak abroad, like you were speaking here, you are speaking on behalf of the country. As we call 1.4 billion people. By the time you guys all come into the stream, we are already most populous nation, but we'll be the only country which will really be providing the workforce of the world. And tech-savvy workforce, not simply the labor class. So it is important. And today, we must take great pride and contribute to India's real growth story that's ahead of you. And once again, it was a great pleasure listening to you all. I must say each of you did a remarkably well job. Very, very good job. And congratulations to you for that. And thank you very much for organizing it.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. Pratyush Shah, Delegate of Portugal, kindly come forward. Arunima Bose, Delegate of Saudi Arabia, kindly come forward. Keep applauding. Aryan Singh, Delegate of United Kingdom of Great Britain, kindly come forward. Keep applauding the children. All of them are receiving the certificate of participation from our second judge, Mrs. Kumari G. I now thank Mrs. Kumari Veena. I request her to sit down. Next, I would like to call the junior wing in charge, Mr. Raj Kishore Sharma, to kindly come forward to give away the certificate of participation. I will call Ayush Kumari from Belgium. Delegate of Belgium, please come. Next in the line, Kanu Pramanik, Delegate of Morocco. Next in the line, Smriti Kuju, Delegate of Sweden. Next, Aditi Singh, Delegate of United Arab Emirates. Next, Twinkle Singh, Delegate of New Zealand. Next,
Good evening to one and all present here. Gratitude is the most exquisite form of courtesy. And so I, P.T. Selby, on behalf of the entire Oxford fraternity, feel honored and take the rare privilege to propose the vote of thanks and acknowledge the effort which made today's event a great success. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the Honorable Chief Guest Ambassador Anil Tignair, who spared precious time from his busy schedule to grace this occasion and enlighten all of us with his thought-provoking insight. Sir, your understanding of climate crisis and how all of us as stakeholders can contribute to mitigating the impact has been very inspirational. My heartfelt thank you to the distinguished guest, Major General Manoj Kumar, who shared his valuable time with us and imparted his rare knowledge and experience. I extend my heartfelt thank you to the Chairman of the school, Dr. Sashibhushan Prakash Mehta, and Honorable Mrs. Kiran Mehta, the Secretary of the school. Luminaries whom we look forward to all the times. I would like to express my gratitude to our Honorable Academic Director, Dr. Simi Mehta. Ma'am has been a catalyst who stimulates our minds to perfection and helps us strive for the best in all that we do. Very thank you, ma'am, for the perfect logistic support and guidance that she provides us in all fortune. I am very thankful to respected Mr. Ranjit Kumar Thakur, the principal of the school, for his loving encouragement that assures us to always believe in the actions that we perform. I am overwhelmed with the presence of respected Mr. Rajkishore Sharma, in charge Junior Wing, Oxford Public School, and Mr. Ravi Shekhar, the academic coordinator, for their unwavering support that they happily extend to all of us. Very thankful to both of them. I express my kind gratitude to Dr. Shreya Pandey for she agreed to be the judge for today's event and has performed a commendable job. Your presence has motivated us like did last year. We hope to have you in future events as well. I am also thankful to Mrs. Kumari Veena for showing her expertise as a judge. It was so kind of her. Very grateful to both of them. I convey my special regards to Mrs. Nancy Rossi, Program Coordinator. Very efficient in all the tasks that she undertakes. She has really worked very hard to organize this grand event. And I am also thankful to Mrs. Khushbu for extending her extreme support and working hand in hand with Mrs. Nancy for flourishing the event so well. Special thanks to Impact and Policy Research Institute, whose association with us has really been very impactful and that has made us reap our fruits of success. We are so full of gratitude towards IMPRI. It is wonderful to see so many young delegates taking an interest in the model United Nations Conference and the ways of its proceedings. Their initiative and enthusiasm to understand how their world works together at the United Nations is praiseworthy. Hence, to all of the young delegates, I say you are the future. I offer my deepest thanks to every one of you for your commitment and I wish you all success in the years and decades ahead. Applause for Chair and Co-Chair, Smriti Rai and Spurs Kamal respectively. Please applause for Chair and Co-Chair Smriti Rai and Spurs Kamal for acting so well as moderators and taking discussions in the conference meet praiseworthy. Both very talented students of Oxford Public School, proud of them. I thank the teacher representatives from various schools who served as an encouragement to the young delegates throughout the session. I thank the stage decoration team. I acknowledge that. Thank all the teachers and the members of the school, all who directly or indirectly lent a helping hand, who worked meticulously to perfectly meet the responsibilities assigned, making this event a grand success. I thank the stage decorations team and the tech support team for the wonderful decoration and uninterpreted technical service. Wide round of applause for Mr. Vivek Gupta, the host of today's event. Who took the honor for comparing the conference so well. His voice kept us all giggled with the proceedings. Last but not the least, I thank all the colleagues from press and media for being so resourceful. We really hope to see an elaborate coverage of our event tomorrow's newspaper. Once again, I would like to thank all for making such an august audience, for your presence was so special. This conference has created a lifetime memory and wise experience for the young diplomats. Thank you everyone.